here we are live. Ta-da! Welcome to the stream. Instead of it being just real blank space, it's blank space and special guest, Hollyanne Setola. I hope I said that right.
You did.
Yes, I'm done.
Thanks for having me. I'm stoked to be here. We're done.
That's it. I said the name right, guys. We're wrap. We'll catch you next time. No.
See you guys soon.
I was lucky enough to meet this epic gamer and sit down and chat while I was in Vegas, and said, I like where your head's at, I like your mojo, I like I'm picking up what you're putting down, so do you want to come onto this silly little show that I have? She said sure. So first of all, before we get started, as always, we're going to do our health disclaimer. So it is your right to educate yourself in health and medical knowledge, to seek helpful information and make use of it for your own benefit. You are the one responsible for your health. The information on this podcast is designed for educational purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for informed medical advice or care. You should not use this information to diagnose or treat any health problems or illnesses without consulting your family doctor. Always consult your physician or healthcare professional before performing any exercise or making any changes in your eating habits, especially if you have any chronic or reoccurring condition. Which somebody emailed me about the last part. Can you have reoccurring conditions of being pregnant? And I said, some people have that problem. So if you are pregnant, nursing, or elderly. With that being said, our now said disclaimers out of the way. So if somebody hurts himself doing a burpee as part of my challenge, I don't have to hear about it. And here we go. So let's talk a little bit about who you are. You are a gamer, obviously female. I've heard rumors that you move your mouse from one side to the other. You play a little left-handed. Mostly play first-person shooters, but I've heard recently that is not the only thing that you play. And we heard you were in a documentary. So let's start a little bit about you. Who are you? What do you do? What do you like? What don't you like? We'll start there.
So, I've been in the gaming industry now for... let's see if I can count.
Potato.
I know, I've been saying 13 years, but I want to make sure that's right. 12, 13. Yeah, we're right. Since 2002, 13 years. Mm-hmm. So I started getting into the competitive scene at 12 years old on Counter-Strike. And as a little girl, I was on, playing with just like old Windows games, like Rodent's Revenge, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I was like 3, 4, so that's why I moved the mouse to the left side. Okay. And then when I started gaming competitively, I just kept it. So I also shoot with my middle finger, like my primary click. So a lot of lefties, they use left-handed mice, and then they like click with this finger, but I click with my middle finger. So I play kind of weird, but I like weird. And so, I do lots of different things like panels, and right now I'm working on my YouTube and frag videos and all of that good stuff, and random things like the documentary that I'm in, which is about women in gaming, more of the positive side and less of like let's just complain about how bad our lives are. And then I'm also going to be featured in a book called Good Luck, Have Fun, about esports and the rise of esports as a whole. And then on my other job, I'm a children's pastor, so obviously work with kids. People always are like, oh, well, like, what is that? I pretty much coordinate the programming for weekend services, and then also work on developing my volunteers and my team. That's like the long short
All right.
of it.
1 second. I got to adjust one thing. Hopefully. Adjusting. Yes. The things and the stuff. Hey, I don't have like minions in the background that like adjust this thing. So,
do it all.
One man show. Yeah, did you ever watch? What was that? Mary Poppins when he's playing the drums. Like that's me. Like dun, 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 dun.
And then like with your knees, like doing the.
Yeah, I have to smash the cymbals with my face. That's pretty much how it is around here. So, children's pastor, one job, esports, in a book. So it sounds like you didn't play casually. It sounds like you actually had a background in being very competitive. Don't want to leadingly put into the question, how was that? But as you said, a young teenage girl going to lands or competitions, how was that experience for you? Was it what we assume it's going to be, or do you have, sometimes we hear different stories. So, how was it for you?
It was actually a lot better than it is today. I had a lot better, way more like the vibe was better. Yeah, I was the only girl at LANs. I mean, LANs were a little different, but no one really like was gonna say anything to me at LAN. Like even if they were talking crap online, they didn't say anything to me at LAN. I did have like a huge LAN blow up, which led to ESEA forums about me and videos and all this stuff. I pretty much had two guys screaming in my face. It was like probably one of the scariest things ever. I was 19. It was in 2009, and that was my last competitive LAN. So that was rough, but when I started playing competitively online when I was 12, it was way better of a community as a whole. The people were friendlier, they were more welcoming. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, girl gamer, oh my gosh, girl gamer. It was just like
Gamer.
maybe every once in a while, like people would be like, oh, you're a girl and you're playing, but it would be like dropped really fast. Now it's like I can't play in any server in any match without it being about how I'm a female for the entire game. So it's very, very, the community for me, I feel like it's gone downhill. And I kind of talked about at the esports conference that I just did why I believe that is. I don't like know if you want me to go into that, but yeah, I mean, it definitely sucked less when I was a kid than it does now.
Okay. Well, I forgot to do this earlier, but boobs are an unfair advantage, one of the moderators say. We have a very loose definition of what healthy gamer is, and this is based upon like my vision and trying to help people. The easiest to understand translates the best. If you know Bajira or you know me, the physical part's easy, you know, but we also talk about mental healthy gamer and spiritual healthy gamer. And so physical is going to the gym or losing weight or changing your diet. The mental part is learning how to increase your mental resilience, overcoming personal obstacles. And then the spiritual part, we talk about, you know, some people learn how to meditate to reduce anxiety, connecting to the world around you on more than just I sit here, I do this, go to work, come home sort of a level. And even for certain folks, it's dealing with conquering body image issues and learning to be okay with themselves. So just keep those in mind, because I will start poking you as we go through and maybe even show you how they relate, because it's one of the cool things we've noticed on these podcasts is people like have a cool message and they have no idea that how much it's getting out there. Because I'm sure like you're like I'm a champion and I talk about females and female in gaming, but I'm sure through this conversation we're going to find something else that really speaks to people, and I'm looking forward to it. So out of those three, which one would you say that you are the best at? Let's see, what is like, are you a rock star at the gym, or do you really rock the diet, or maybe you're really good at overcoming body issues, or whatever it may be? What kind of healthy gamer do you think you're really good with, and what do you think you struggle with?
I think that's taken like a recent shift for me. Just like a really quick backstory about me. When I was 18, I lost 125 pounds. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, you look amazing. And I was modeling and like, you know, still doing my gaming stuff. And everyone just was like, wow, you're fabulous. But I was actually really unhealthy. I didn't do it in a healthy way. I was sick all the time. I was passing out at photo shoots. So even though everyone thought I looked great from the outside, I was actually the unhealthiest I've ever been in my life. Yep. My blood pressure was extremely high. So that's kind of like just like a little background. Then I got diagnosed with food allergies about 2 years ago, which turns out I'm allergic to gluten, egg, soy, and dairy, and I don't eat meat. So I'm a vegan and I'm gluten-free and soy-free. So it's interesting because if anybody were to look at me from the outside, back then to now, they would say that back then, the best thing that I was at was physical stuff. And the worst thing would be body image issues, because I still had so many body image issues. But in reality, that was not the case at all. So I think now the best thing that I'm good at is my diet. I mean, I'm like on top of it. I'm doing really, really well. I lost 12 pounds last month, and it's not even about that for me. I mean, right now my blood pressure is 116/70, and I'm feeling really good. You know, there's really hard days, especially when traveling, like at the Gamestop expo, and then just on Thursday in San Francisco, like I pretty much went 19 hours with like one meal because there was nothing at the airport I could have, and I was going and asking around. And there was a part of me that was like, oh, I would just wish I could get a veggie burger and French fries. But like, I've worked so hard these last couple months to, you know, take these toxins out of my body. And I waited till I got home, and I was so proud of myself. So I feel like that is my like top thing, even though people will be like, oh, well, that's our worst thing. And also, when I lost all my weight, you know, I wasn't exercising at all. So I was really unhealthy. So I feel like I'm actually that's probably like my top thing right now that I'm really doing well at. I think the thing that I'm the worst at is body image issues. You know, with losing all of my weight and then putting some of it back on from being diagnosed with food allergies. I literally pretty much created an eating disorder for myself when I lost all of the weight. I had a lot of problems. You know, I lost that weight in 9 months. So it was very fast.
Yeah.
And I was modeling, and, you know, you can never be too small, and my chest is always too big. So, so like I wasn't.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know if that's a thing, just so we're all clear, just for the whole internet and the record, but continue.
So I wasn't getting castings because my chest was too big, and, but I was getting a lot of other jobs as well. But I was just like, oh, I'm just going to lose more weight. And everyone's like, dude, you're like really small. Like you already look you kind of look unhealthy. And at this time, obviously I didn't know that I had food allergies yet, or I wouldn't have been, you know, doing that.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, it was really, really hard for me, and I'm still kind of recovering from that. And, you know, like we kind of talked about it a little bit in Vegas. I had to be really careful about the way I think about my weight. So like right now I'm focused on, you know, really more of like healthy lifestyle, which I feel like I've been doing really well at. And then awesome, cool. Like I'm losing weight. Like that's a good thing, of course. But like I have to be really careful not to make it about what the scale says, because I mean, when I was my smallest, I was weighing myself 4 times a day. I was very hypocritical of myself. Nothing was ever good enough. So like I feel like that is like an ongoing struggle for me. And I'm actually really happy with where I'm at, because I'm actually learning to really love myself again. And not only learning to love myself for who I am, but still being able to stand up and be the voice that I have in the industry with just being who I am, while also just adopting a healthier lifestyle in general with everything.
Will you do me and healthy gamers a favor?
Yes.
Throw your scale away. I'm asking you. I'm going to be, the scale only tells you a part of the story. It's the outside cover of the book. You're not seeing, and not to be stereotypical, but females, especially the different ones that I'll train with, they stare at that scale. So the first week, you know, they see that weight go up a little, and the second week they see that weight go up a little, and then, but every time I train with a female, this is what happens. That weight goes up and they lose their mind. I'm up 2 pounds. What is going on? I'm doing all this work, right? All this stuff. But then the pant size goes down, or the shirt, and then it all makes sense for a female. I don't know what it is, but the minute something, so exactly, like as soon as they're like, I had to go buy new clothes, and then like for some reason there's that like, it's like that physical validation that you can't see in a mirror. So do me a favor, throw your scale away, stop looking at it, because you know if you're putting good things in, and you're doing a little bit of exercise, that you're being healthy. That number does not matter. I freak out about it.
I totally forgot to say too, like my blood pressure thing. So I had to go to the Minute Clinic last week because I had strep throat right before the GameStop expo. And so once I got diagnosed with my food allergies, I went more Chinese medicine side and less Western medicine. So like I don't really go to the doctor, but obviously strep, I'm like, I need to get an antibiotic. So I went to the Minute Clinic, and the whole time I was freaking out, paranoid, because I'm like, they're gonna ask me how much I weigh. It's gonna be like this big thing. Oh my gosh, what if they weigh me? Like, cause I really have deep-seated problems with this. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, my blood pressure is gonna be really high. She's not gonna wanna give me any medicine. And then she was like, literally the look on her face when she took my blood pressure, I was like, yeah, bitch, because I eat awesome and I take care of myself. Like, I'm heavier than you and my blood pressure is probably better. So I was stoked, because to me, that's like all this work that I'm doing, like, it isn't for nothing. Like, I'm working really hard and I'm really happy. So
that to me speaks volumes. I have friends who do, one of my friends is getting ready to do, she lives in Maine, she's traveling down to like Ohio or something, and she's a bikini fitness model, and the struggle like 2 weeks before competition is crazy, you know. And if that's something that you want to do, or it's a life goal that you want to accomplish, you're willing to do that struggle, you know, like, and I get it. But for me, like, my happiness is in knowing I'm strong enough to hold both the girls at the same time, or that, you know, I got out of bed and I at least did something on a day where I don't want to. So just to hear that you're doing stuff and it makes you happy, that's great. That's great to hear it. Want to know a little bit more about this documentary. I believe it was called No Princess in the Castle. What was it about?
So it's set to release right now in 2017. We'll see how that goes. They did a Kickstarter, and I think they raised like $70,000. I
Hmm.
think the goal was 60. Really, it's about women in gaming, but not just like women like me that are like competitive gamers, but women that also work in the industry, you know, make microchips. We have Rebecca Heinman, who won the first gaming tournament that there was on Asteroid Blasters, and
Hmm.
she's a female. A woman that was very heavily involved in developing Halo, which a lot of people don't know, but that was pretty much led by her, and she's a woman.
Yep.
Um, and then other people that are also competitive gamers, like CG Thornton for Guitar Hero and stuff like that. So yeah,
I did
so
a vodcast with her before. She's awesome.
yeah. So there's a lot of amazing women,
Yep.
and really the focus is more on like the positive side. I mean, of course they go into harassment, and which is important, as I realized at the esports conference. People were blown away to hear about the harassment that I get and the level, and like they had never heard of a lot of the things I was saying, which was really interesting to me because I just feel like, well, doesn't everyone know that? But
Yeah.
like these were industry professionals, and no, not everybody knows that. So it's still important to get that across, but to really make the overall message and overall theme a positive one. And I really feel like they're doing a great job at that. I'm like the main person that they're highlighting and following around, so I'm going to be like the main lead of the documentary or whatever. So we still have a lot of filming to do of me. We filmed a couple times and done a couple photo shoots, but
Hmm.
now I'm at a totally different place than I was the first time they filmed me.
Yeah.
Completely different place, not only like in my personal life and my haircut, but also like in gaming. So
Time stops for no one, you know?
yeah.
Just keep pushing forward. So, um, tell us a little bit about how about just your experiences with harassment. We hear it's of course a very touchy subject, and you never know the different stories that you hear. I myself, uh, I'm used to it, and I see it in different places. You know, especially being as active as I am on Twitch. Maybe not so much on YouTube or what goes on there, but you know, it doesn't take long to scroll down some comments and see just vile stuff. Tell us a little bit. Have you had the positive experience side of it too, or has it all just been negative?
Yeah, I think like before when I was, you know, when I started up when I was young, I feel like things were really good. Once I started switching more to a LAN team and focusing on LANing and traveling and competing in that way, it got a little bit worse just because I was the only female there, but it like wasn't anything that was like crazy. Then I started streaming, and I started streaming right when Twitch and Justin TV merged.
Yeah.
And things were going really well. I only streamed for a total of 6 months, and I had like 10,000 followers. I was getting like at least 350 views every time I streamed. Like what everyone would look at and be like, success. The first time that I had a severe encounter with like a major level of harassment was my first night on World of Warcraft. So a couple of my fans were like, you should try WoW, and like we'd love to watch you play. So I, you know, downloaded WoW, played, and my stream got rolled by like a whole entire 4chan section or whatever you call it. I had over 500 people on my channel that were just there to troll me. And I was the top streamer that night of WoW. So it was like, plus I had a bunch of people in there just in general. So that kind of was like my first experience. At the time, Chris is my husband, and he's in the Navy. So at the time he was at boot camp, and people were coming in with names like Sailor Chris or like Navy Chris and saying like, oh, I'm not at boot camp, like I'm fucking girls, like don't worry about it, baby, like all these things, like hundreds and hundreds of
Ugh.
people. And it was super difficult because like at the time I'm missing my husband.
Hmm.
And you know, we're really close, we're best friends, and then to have all of that, but in the midst of it, you know, I didn't feed any of the trolls, and they literally were there for like over 6 hours. They would not leave. So that was my first experience. And then they continued to follow me pretty much on every game I played. So I was getting DOSed. Then it got to the level of began getting phone calls to my family's house, like our house phone number. At the time I lived at home. And they were leaving death threats, like, we're going to run your daughter over with a truck. She's a useless bitch. I had to explain to my family like what was happening. Then they started ordering food to my house, like over $200 worth of food a night. When it was one pizza, people would be like, oh, like whatever, they did the work for you, just pay for it. But I'm vegan, gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free. There's nothing I can eat that they're ordering. So I had to call all the delivery places and let them know not to deliver anything to me. I had to put a sign on my door. And those kids to this day are still following me. And I deleted my stream a year and 3 months ago. Every morning they still leave comments on my YouTube, and like I said to you, they're still down rating all my videos that come out. So but now, like, I look at it, and to me, like, I feel very honored because they're still on me, and usually they like forget people and move on. I think the reason they haven't forgotten me and moved on is because I think because of what I'm doing in the industry, it is hard to forget, because I am standing up and I'm a voice, and I have nothing wrong with that. I think haters make me famous, so whatever, keep on hating.
Dude, trust me, I feel pretty much the same way. On my YouTube, you saw me being like, does this really matter? And you're like, oh, well, like, it matters for researching. And I'm like, does it really, like, do their downvotes really matter? And everyone was like, no, not really. And then I'm like, okay, whatever, man, like, do what you want to do. That's a free view. That's a free, you know, ad scroll. I don't care. It is interesting how other people can be so involved in other folks' lives just to be negative. You know, to me, yeah, trolling can be fun, and I'm a big one. You know, I like to troll, like, especially in like a server chat in WoW or something like that. But nothing I ever do is meant to like to hurt somebody. You know what I mean? Like the whole, like, Donald Trump's going to be my next president, you know, just to get somebody riled up. That's funny to me.
Totally.
Saying something like, you know, I hope somebody gets run over by a car. That's just, you know, there's a line. So you're standing up, as you said, and you're being a voice. One thing I wanted to mention and have you talk a little bit about is you do some stuff with Ladies at the Round Table. And so tell us about that, and we're going to start kind of developing what this voice is. Like, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to get people to take away? You know, for me, you know, Healthy Gamer is that person who makes a diet change or makes a life change or overcomes their anxiety, even if it takes them a year to say hi to a friend that they met at a convention, you know, whatever it is. So I want to find out what you're aiming for. But tell us a little bit about Ladies of the Round Table and what you do with them.
Yeah, so Ladies of the Round Table is a nonprofit organization that focuses on giving young women opportunities in STEM. For those of you who may not know, STEM is science, technology, electronics, and math. And we also like to include art, cartooning, things of that nature. We want to make sure that there are more women that have opportunities, especially young girls, to be up and coming in this field, because there really are not a lot. We have all the different statistics on our website, which are really pretty astounding to look at. But a lot of girls feel very like timid about entering this industry, whether it's on the gaming side or on the electronic side or art or whatever it is. So we really like to be a voice for them. And to be a positive role model for them. We do that through educating people, whether it's going to schools, talking to administrators, or if it's talking to parents about online safety and how to teach that to their kids, or doing panels. Like, that's why I was at the esports conference speaking. So, like, that's kind of our focus. And I keep saying they because I'm new with them. We have a Twitch channel. And we host a show every Friday night, and we have different people that come on, not just females, but also males. And we just have like an open roundtable discussion about things in the news that are gaming related or tech related or geek related or whatever it is. And we have some really amazing people that have come on the show. Last night, we actually had Brianna Wu from the whole Gamergate scandal come on. It was a really, really interesting show. We've Patrick Scott Patterson, PSP, is coming on next week. So we have a lot of cool people that come on there, and I've only been with them. I think this is like my 3rd month as a host. Yeah. They approached me to interview me, and then kind of wanted to get me on full time. So I'm super thankful to be a part of such a great cause and working with really great people. And it's already opened so many opportunities for me to be a voice in the industry in the way that I've wanted to be for so many years. I have quite a different stance than a lot of females as far as competitive esports and streaming and whatever else it is. So I'm really thankful to be able to have that platform.
So let's we'll shake the hands out. Let's start digging in here. Let's get into some of these nitty-gritties. Females in streaming, you mentioned. What does Holly want to say? What do you want it to say about females in streaming?
My main thing is females that are showing their bodies and are not really good at games, may not really be gamers, but they're on, Twitch to make a profit and to do their thing. Of course, we all have the freedom to do that. And they have the freedom to do that and to run their channel how they would like. And I'm totally not, saying that they're not allowed to do that, because of course they are. But I think what more women that do that need to understand is that it greatly impacts every single female gamer, whether they want it to or not. So it's really been hard to see what streaming has turned into, because now it's like everyone, number one, automatically assumes I stream. Number two, they're automatically wanting to see my tits. Number three, it's like, it's literally the opposite of everything that I'm trying to say in the industry. So it's very hard to be constantly fighting against that, because that is a lot of the times what's rising to the top. And that's what people are seeing. And it automatically segregates everyone as gamers, because it's like, whoa, well, you have these girls that are over here doing this, and then you have the guys that are like really good. So then it's like, it's really, really disheartening for me to see. I think it's such a bad example, not only for other females that are gamers, but also for people, like there's a lot of young kids on this website. And I still have, but I have a lot of young fans, a lot of young female fans. And that is like really, really, it just hurts my heart to think that they see that. And, it's just like the media on television or the way women are portrayed in games. It's all kind of along the same lines. And it's difficult for me. Of course, we're not going to knock that there aren't legitimate streamers. And that's the thing that was so hard about deleting my channel, was because I was legitimate. I had a great community of people. I was a voice. I was doing something different than anybody else was. And it's not that none of those things were good, but I just felt like in my heart of hearts, for the voice that I'm trying to be in the industry, I could not do both and just have an okay heart with it. I didn't want my name associated with something where it's kind of in that direction for females. Someone asked me yesterday in the interview for that book that I'm going to be featured in, if all of female streamers that were like that were to disappear and fall off the earth tomorrow, would I stream again? I thought it was a really interesting question. And I think I probably wouldn't, but part of me is like, oh, that'd be tempting. I'd be tempted to get my stream back up. Because there's a lot of women that are doing good things, and I'm totally not discounting them, but just for me and for what I'm doing, I didn't feel like I would be able to do both. So what I want to be clear, you're not saying that, because I want to pick this apart, you're not saying that a female has to be playing competitively all the time to be streaming. That's correct. So they can be gaming. I would agree with you, absolutely. I saw this, it must have been a YouTube video that literally showed the difference between an adult website where you put money in and a girl shakes her hoobity haws, and Twitch where you put your money in and then they just get up and do like a dance, or they shake their things, or they write on a board even though they're leaning over, like, you know what I mean? Let me just lean over while I write your name on this, you know what I mean? Like, and it's very suggestive, but it's, it is what it is. I find, I like to liken it like this. I used to work in the car industry, and I used to upset people because I say exactly what's on my mind. And we had females who were good at memorizing the types of cars and were good at getting people's information, and they sometimes were very, 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 most of the time, pretty. But we also had women who worked at the company, who were engineers. And this is what I find to be very difficult with Twitch. Sex sells. Sex brings it in. Like that's the way that it is. So even me as an event promoter for a car show, if somebody wanted to talk, specs, they might talk to an engineer, whether it was a male or female. But that first initial draw, that first impression click was,
hooty hoobahs or, you know, a cute voice. And I don't know, it's a conversation. I'd love to hear your take. Part of me wants to say that that is human nature. That is the peacock response. The reason blonde hair is preferred over darker is because in our brains as an animal, we see that and it excites us at a very primal level. How do you think we go about, I know how I personally do it, but how do you think we go about as, say, a Twitch community or as an online community on validating female gamers, whether they're displaying their goods or whether they're trying to be esports? How do we do that, in your opinion?
Well, first off, as far as like, you know, sex selling, I mean, I'm part of why I'm in the industry is because of how I look and because of like my experience. So like, I totally like, I'm not saying that no one was watching my stream because they didn't think I was pretty and attractive and liked me, and because that would be crap. But I think there's a way to do that and not be showing your tits. So I think that there's a big difference in that. Even when I was modeling and working Comic-Con as a booth babe, I was super strict. Like, I will wear that shirt and I will wear shorts, but can I wear like, you know, like my undershirt? Can I wear my undershirt like with that shirt? Like, so I was still very strict. Like, even when I was doing runway, like I remember this one guy, we were modeling his jackets and they were men's jackets, but he wanted us to wear them with like nothing underneath. And like, you know, just like wear this, and I'm like, you know, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna button mine, like, you know, it'll still be V, but like you're not gonna see my chest. Yeah. And like, I never had one person that was like, no, you're not doing that, bye-bye. Right. Everyone was kind of like, damn, she's actually standing up for her beliefs, standing up for who she is. Yep. And I think that's great. So I'm totally like, I think that part of me being a female and my looks has totally been why I am where I am. So I just want to preface that. And then as far as like where we go about from here, I mean, it's hard because I feel like there's a lot of guys that tune in to quality female streamers that are, regardless if they're good or not, it's not about skill, but just girls that are having a fun time, or they're competing, or they're artists like Tiff and they're like whatever they're doing, people are tuning in because they want to see their ability, or they like their personality, or they like the music they play, or they're friendly, or they sing, or whatever it is. Right. Versus girls that are specifically on there to show off their body. They really have no past of caring about games, but they're just kind of like, oh, well, I'm an ex-porn star and this is like really popular right now, so I'm going to start playing games. That, to me, those are two extremely different things. Even a girl that's showing her tits that's a gamer is very different than an ex-porn star that's hopping on the Twitch bandwagon. Yeah. So I think that it was always hard for me because I had a lot of genuine people that were in my community that liked my personality, maybe thought I was pretty hot, whatever, thought I was a good gamer, thought, you know, liked that I was a Christian, liked my community, whatever. But then you have guys that come in and automatically like, show me your tits or whatever. Or you have guys that come in, they're not seeing that and they're going to those streams that are providing that. Yep. Or they're going to the male streamers that are like the professional players that are like top of the line. Right. So I feel like there's a very interesting combination. But I think that if people really were like 100% on Twitch for games and for the love of gaming or art or music or whatever it is, I think we'd be seeing a very different community in general. And
I will tell you, there have been strides made forward. I actually, the way that I validate and promote that sort of thing is by, first of all, everybody knows I love boobs. My girlfriend knows I love boobs. Everybody knows I love boobs. However, hanging out, like, I don't feel like Twitch is what that's there for. So I may have female streamer friends who do that. It is what it is. But a lot of the people that I keep around myself or keep in that closer circle are ones that I feel to be genuine folks who are in it for gaming, whether or not they use we know Hollyanne hasn't been around for a while because she still thinks they're called boobs and tits. They're called bobs now. They're bobs. they took an O out because it was too much, and now they say open bobs. And there's actually a female streamer, it's Lucy, she's great, where she has Bob the Builder. And it says like open bobs, and so like they'll like their subs will spam that when people come in and say stuff. So,
oh my gosh!
But I look at it as Twitch was created as a place for people to play video games, but as a social environment is now changed. Twitch is so large that they you know are pulling in viewership from all over the world. Before they got purchased, I'm pretty sure they were kind of trying to keep things cleaned up and whatnot. But now that you know they've got a nice big backing by Amazon, they you know, they can kind of afford to throw a convention. They can afford for a little bit of liberty. And if there are big streams that have the bobs, you know, they're going to let that happen. Yeah, they actually just changed. I don't know if you're aware of the terms of service.
Yes.
They changed that, and people will be like, you know, blank space, you're a hypocrite. I will take my shirt off every once in a while and say it's hot in here because it says in the terms of service I can do so. Because it's very rare that you'll find males at that same level of allowing themselves to be objectified, and I don't mind it. I think it's hysterical.
Totally.
So I think that it is, for that one, it is an uphill battle, mostly because we're looking at it from like a social view, but really in any other industry, it is part of being a human. And I think some of us get a little frustrated because we're like, hey man, like, Bob streams isn't all Twitch is about. And I know that it makes it hard for you, and this is my segue here, like, those who I have another friend who's Sippy Kitty Cups. She does a no Bob, very chill stream. Clara does another one, no Bob stream. And it took them a while to build their communities because they were Bobless. However, they were good content, and it makes it more difficult for them to grow. And it's sad, but that's the way that it is. Let's see, where was my next segment? So you said you had a Gamergate conversation. Now I'm going to preface this with, I love taking my shirt off. That is correct. Gamergate, we'll preface this with, for anyone in chat, if you get unruly, mods will have your rear ends. Gamergate, what is it to you? What are your general thoughts? Would love to hear them.
I think the easiest way to really explain me is I'm like pretty much the opposite of a feminist. I have like very traditional values. I'm very old school, like as a lot of people would say. So even though I'm a female gamer with an edgy haircut, a red lip, and tattoos, like I'm not like, you know, like just like, okay, huge feminist. Like people always come on Ladies at the Round Table and they just assume that we're all kind of feminists because we're all women sitting around with each other. So I mean, that kind of gives you an idea of what I think about it without, you know, being a complete asshole. But I will say, you know, with Brianna Wu on last night, it was literally opposite. I'm sorry, Friday night, it was opposite of what I was expecting. Okay. I was expecting a very heavy feminist agenda. I felt it a little bit, to be honest, yes, because it's Brianna Wu. But, like, I felt like the main thing that I saw was her passion and her love for the industry and her love for getting these young girls opportunities to be developers and to have these opportunities in the industry. And that, for me, I was like, mad respect. I had mad respect for that. So I can totally see both sides of the coin, though, but I'm not someone that believes that, you know, oh my gosh, I get all this harassment because I'm a female. I don't believe that at all. I think we all get harassment. We all get made fun of. We all get death threats. We all get bullied. I don't believe that I get bullied more because I'm a female, but I do believe the degree and the length of it might be a little bit more so. But I don't believe that I get anything more because of my gender. And I've always been someone, you know, I'm not for female teams. I'm not for that. I know a lot of people think that it's a good thing and at least there's something, and I don't think that. I think it segregates women. I think it promotes a message of women suck more, so we need to have them on their own team with an $8,000 prize pool while Fnatic's going to win $100K. I think that's embarrassing, and I've never partaken in it, and I never will. So people are asking me, will you play professionally again? If it's on a co-ed team, I will play Counter-Strike professionally again. But I guarantee you, if I walk up to, say, Cloud9, and I'm like, hey, I want to be on your team, they're more than likely they're going to create a female team. And not that that's easy for these organizations to do, because it takes money and time and bandwidth. But the point is that's just the direction that the industry's gone in, and that's what it's gone to. And I don't partake in stuff like that. I want to play with everybody. So I'm very much a promoter of diversity and equality, not just for gender, but for race, for ability, for everything. That's what I'm about. I'm not about this whole gender segregation. If anything, I just want to be regular like everybody else. I'm not asking for special treatment, but I'm also not going to change my name or my picture or my voice in a game because you're upset that I'm a female. That is something I will not do because this is who I am. Yep. And I've been playing this game longer than you were born for most of the kids on Counter-Strike today.
Yep.
So I don't go that way.
So I want to break down an important part of the conversation. And I want to, my viewers and people watching this have heard this before, but you may not have. I was in the Army as a military policeman. At the time, military police was the only way a female could get into an infantry unit. So I was in a unit in which the females, it didn't matter. You know, very quickly, you either did the job or didn't. I don't care if you weigh 100 pounds or it didn't matter. There was very little wiggle room. You know, we're going to go to war. Like, I don't care that you can't pull the charging handle back. If you can't do it, you're gone. Like, that's it, whether you're a male or female. And it gave me quite a different perspective of the world. So that is how I look at things like this. There was, of course, in the military, a difference between the physical test, but not the mental test. And this is something that I always make sure to be very clear. The ASVAB is the ASVAB. There's no, like, female ASVAB, you know?
Yeah.
But there is one for how physical you are, you know, because that's biology. You can't you can't defute that. You know, the fact that a male's upper body can get stronger than a female's. Hands down.
Yeah.
When it comes to the translation of those categories into online stuff is where people get all, like, the science isn't quite there yet. What you're doing, you're not lifting this computer. What you're doing is reacting. And my position has been this. Whether you have a penis or vagina, you have the ability to react as quickly as your body will let you. And if you're able to process information quickly and then turn that into good plays or smart plays and communicate with other people, it doesn't matter whether you have one or the other. And that upsets some people. I think you probably agree with me, but that is one of the things I keep pushing. Like, this isn't the Olympics, you know, we're not talking about the physical, we're talking about the ability to process information and move a mouse and or touch keys. The worst thing you got to worry about is hand fatigue in, like, a StarCraft game, you know what I mean? Like, that's the only variable. Like, so agree or disagree?
Yeah, I mean, at the esports conference, this is exactly what I said. I said, guys, football, okay, basketball, we see why there's men and women. I played basketball for 18 years. I was one of the top in my league. Men have a bigger lung capacity. They have more endurance.
Yep.
They have more, and I'm a woman that believes all of that to the fullest. But poker, it's co-ed.
Yeah.
So why is poker co-ed and esports isn't? The reason I think that's true is because this is something that the esports as a whole has created. Mm-hmm. And that is why I believe that I used to be more comfortable, confident, and treated better back in the day, because there was none of that. There was no girl teams. And now some females may look at that and be like, oh, there was no girl teams, there was no opportunity. There was plenty of opportunity. I had opportunity. I was playing on male teams.
Yeah.
I didn't, and there's nothing wrong if you want an African American team or a military team or a female team. That's fine. But what it does in the professional esports scene is it segregates the entire community. It tells men that women are not as good at games. Yep. It tells men that women are not worth as much, so we're going to make their prize pool really small. And that is why I feel like now it's all, oh my gosh, grill gamer. Oh my gosh, grill every 2 seconds. And it never used to be like that.
No.
Of course, there's combinations of, there's younger people playing now.
Yes.
There's more keyboard strongness. Landing's pretty much dead. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. But I feel like overall, as a whole, people see the segregation clear as day from the way that esports has set it up. And I feel like it's just negatively affecting females as a whole on gaming. Well,
I've said this before, and for you, I first started playing first-person shooters. That's what I grew up with. It was Doom, Quake, Half-Life. And the first gaming team I was on that we competed with, we had a female. And, like, she was badass. Like the kind of kids are next. Like she de-eagled. She didn't use anything. And the thing that blew our minds, she used a mouse ball. To this day, I used to have a video of like, I was like, can you please take a video so I can see like how you do this? And she was ridiculous, you know, and people would be like, dude, like they'd make fun of her because she's a female. Like, first of all, she's our teammate and she's awesome. Don't be jealous. And secondly, yeah, it's a female. We would harass and be jerks, but we were that to everybody, you know, that was just the way it was. I wasn't really around for the big change. I feel like there was some sort of a change where like the internet was new and infancy and we were all just kind of gamers playing games, and like if there was a girl it was cool. Like I played text-based games and there were females, and unless it was a role-playing game and you didn't want to role-play with a dude because you got that weird like dude, I don't want to RP with you if you've got one of these and we're docking, bro. That's not a thing. But other than that, like I remember playing when I first transitioned to World of Warcraft. I thought it was, at first I thought it was weird, but then I played in hardcore guilds and they didn't accept females, and I was like, why don't we have females? And they're like, no, they just can't. They come with drama and they come with this, and that's when things had changed for me. I feel like anybody can bring drama, and to try and make the argument that females are emotional and therefore equal more drama, to me is ridiculous, because I've had female friends who are just as like hardcore, straightforward, badass, and I've had male friends who are like, oh my god, the world is falling. You know what I mean? So it just depends on your temperament and who you are as a person. I had another segment and I lost it. It's okay. So one of the things that I like to ask people, because I have my own. You're what, in your 20s, 30s now?
I'm 25.
Okay, so let's say 60 years from now, right? You know, you're chilling in a bed, you're got kids, don't got kids, whatever. Your family's sitting around, and you know your granddaughter, grandson, we're like, you know, Grandma, tell me about what you did in life. I want to know who you are. Who do you think you're gonna be? What are your hopes and dreams as a gamer, as a person, like anything? What is the story you hope to share, you know, on your deathbed or as you get older, to the people that matter the most to you?
I honestly feel like in the last month, like I feel like I'm there. I feel like I'm at this place where I'm like, this is exactly what I've wanted to do. I've wanted to be a children's pastor since I was 15. I went to my first children's ministry conference when I was 13, and I interned for children ministers, children directors, pastors. Every church calls it something different. It's the same thing. I interned with them for over 6 years. I knew I was going to be a children's pastor at some point. Didn't think it was going to be right out of college, and that's what I've been doing since I graduated college. And I just feel so fortunate. I'm like doing exactly, in my opinion, what I was created to do. You know, the kids love me, and then on top of that, you know, I'm like this big time gamer, and oh my gosh, Miss Hollyanne's famous, and this is so cool. And I really connect with the 3rd through 5th grade boys that don't really want to be going to Sunday school, and they don't think it's cool, and I'm the one making it cool. And the kids love it, and you know, we're able to connect on games, we're able to connect on, so like as far as that is concerned, like I want people to remember the work that I've done for kids positively, kids of all ethnicities, gender, whether they're rich, poor, homeless, whatever it is. We have a lot of different people at our church, and I love just ministering to all kids.
Yep.
And then also I see people saying that, and then I see them like waiting and being like, yeah, and Hollyanne was a badass gamer too. So because, you know, gaming's just been a part of my life pretty much my whole life. This is something that I've been a part of since I was 12, and it's just something that, you know, I thought was kind of die down. Like after I went to E3 and worked with Game Church, and that was all, I'm like, okay, like I think this is kind of my peak. Like, you know, I'm streaming, and then when I was done streaming, I'm like, oh gosh, like I'm not gonna have anything. And you know, since I've been done streaming, my gaming career is like, it's crazy now. Yeah. So I feel like, you know, people are gonna be like, say those two things, and then also just I want to be a positive role model. Well, I already know I'm a positive role model in the gaming industry, but I want to be that voice, not only for females, but also for males. And, you know, I want to keep being that person that people can come to, regardless of you know, what the things that they're going through, the things that they're dealing with. And I just had a fan last night. He said, you know, you've helped me through so many hard times in my life, whether it was while you were streaming or now. And he's like, I feel so honored to know you. And that to me, like, makes everything, all the death threats, all the police calls, all of it, it makes all of it worth it.
That's awesome to hear. That's awesome to hear. So that was long term. How about short term? Short term, where are you going next? What are we going to see? I mean, the movie, that's going to be a thing. And what's next for you? You know, what are we going to see you on? Who do you want to talk to next? What's the next big step for you? Or maybe not even a big step. What's the next journey? We want to know.
Yeah, so I mean, between the film and that book that's coming out, Good Luck, Have Fun, those are two really big projects that I'm super fortunate to be involved with so many amazing people. I feel super fortunate. Another thing, I think we're definitely going to see more speaking engagements. Judging by the feedback that I got from the esports conference, not only the feedback like, oh, that was great, you're funny, you're a good speaker, your experience, regardless of that, yeah, more so people caring about diversity, people, industry professionals, CEO of Fnatic coming up to me and wanting to know more about my experience in gaming. Like, that to me was the mind blower. Yeah. People coming up to me shocked that I received death threats when they work in the industry, and they like, it's like, do you have a computer? Do you have internet? Right. So I see these speaking engagements just continuing. I'm super professional when I go to events like this, and I carry myself pretty well. But I'm also super passionate, and I really care about what I'm talking about. Right. And it comes across, and I think that people want to see more of that. They want to see genuineness. They want to see people that aren't just saying things because it's kind of the status quo. So I think that we're going to see more of that. My dream, something that I don't know if this is coming, but would be a dream of mine, would be to play competitively again on a co-ed team. And I think it may take years for us to get there. In an esports high competition level. Yeah. And I'm not talking like I did, because the way that I played professionally, competitively, doesn't exist anymore. You know, the way it is now, it's huge. It's like this huge scale thing. The teams have chefs. They're like, they have all this stuff going on. And like, there's none of that really for co-ed, except for, as someone mentioned in chat, the League of Legends team was the first female professional gamer. And I got to meet their team lead and talk with him about the harassment that she received for stepping up and for playing with her team. And like, I'm not discrediting all of that, but that to me, I looked at that organization and I was like, yeah, yes, that's what I want to be a part of. That's what I want to see. This is what we need to see more of. This is what males, females, black, white, Asian, horse, dog, cat, this is what we need to see. We need to see co-ed unity, not division of anything, whether it's race, ability, whatever. It needs to stop.
See, I'm all, like I said, I'm all for the however their model runs. If you want to show the bobs, wear a tight cosplay, and have your picture taken, you can hang out in front of the teams. But those teams can have females on them, and they can be competing for the same prizes. And if they're able to communicate well with their team, play well, cool beans. I fully agree with you. And I am not that large into the esports scene, mostly on purpose. I'm like you. I did Cal back in the day. I did all the IOU, LMNOPs, and the video sending-ins. And then I went to MMOs. It was a lot easier. Those sponsors just pretty much want you to like rank in the world, and they're like, okay, we're good. You know, like like there was no more like, hey, you have to fight in this competition. We'll give you TeamSpeak for free, and then we'll give you your. Do you remember those days where it's like
screenshot mid.
Yeah, like hurry up. You got to get them in. Oh, hey, we got a free month. Our pub server is going to stay up another month. We don't have to pay for it, right? So, not our tournament server. Like, I moved away from all of that because I ended up moving into MMOs, which is such a different space. And now, you know, we see the companies. That's a different conversation. We're going to talk about the money going into esports, even though it started in MMOs, mostly hugely. They're trying to turn that old school platform into what it is now. But we'll see. Thank you so much for being on this vodcast. For those of you who have watched all of this, my take on this is who we got to talk to today was not only a healthy gamer in the physical aspect, but one mentally too, who was able to look at something as, you know, harassment and not say, oh, poor me, where somebody helped come take care of me, but instead was like, you know what, let me stand up and be a voice, not only to females in a way that, yo, hey, look, I can do it, you can do it, but you're also saying like, hey guys, like, you don't have to be the dude who runs in chat and says open bobs. You could hang out and find out if she actually has a cool personality, or, you know, like, if you align with her stuff, you know, like someone could come in your stream and instead of wanting to see bobs, they hear you talking about Christian stuff and you're like, hey, you know, that's not my jam, but I want to stop by and say thanks. You're looking to, in your own way, cultivate that sort of a culture, and I think that's great. I hope someday you'll consider maybe trying to find a little bit of time to stream, because there are only a few folks, females, who do, and I love to support them. I don't have a ginormous audience on my own, because this is my own direction scares people off too, man. Who wants to listen to some dude in a wheelchair, you know, whine about, tell them to stop, put the soda down, bro? They're like, this Dorito tastes good, bro. Peace out, exit. You know, I'm going back to that other dude where he's like making noise, or that chick who like is writing her name on the board, like, I'll peace him out. But I believe that you also have the same drive where the message is what matters. It doesn't matter about the how long it takes to grow. It doesn't matter how many people that, you know, impressions that get missed. It sounds like one person that gets it or two people that gets it is, and that's, you know, honestly, that's why I'm really glad that you came on the show. So to those of you on YouTube, I will have all of this stuff down below that you can check out, all of the cool places on the YouTubes and the Twitters and the Facebooks. I will have that all down below, and we're looking forward to seeing Hollyanne here. Hopefully she's going to talk to some of these people, and she's going to get her own FPS team, and they're going to be competing, you know, probably the next year or two. That's my challenge to her. I want to see it. I'm telling you, I want to see it. I like to give different challenges out to folks, and that's mine to you. In the next 2 years, I want you to find somebody who wants to throw up some dollar bills and put together a team and do it, and show it that the model can be completed with males and females on the same team. So
yeah, I'm ready.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else that you wanted to say or throw out there before we wrap up on any topic? Feel free. The platform is yours. Go for it.
Just thank you guys so much for having me. I think this is, I mean, exactly like you said, you know, doing anything different on Twitch is doing something different on Twitch. And I think different is great in pretty much all areas, just because I'm not the biggest fan. So I think it's awesome. I'm just really fortunate just to have met you and to have got to hang out with you in person, and now we're friends, and I'm just super excited about that. I know we're going to work together in the future. And I'm super stoked. Thank you guys for being here with us, for hanging out with us, and for chatting with us as well. Awesome.
Well, Hollyanne, what a great vodcast. Thank you so much. For those folks that are here, I will be back with you shortly, and you on YouTube. Goodbye. We'll see you later.